Chapter 6 Construction Contract of Advertising and Award General Construction Contract Requirements General Negotiated Contract Liquidated Damages Authority Congressional Review Authority to advertise the construction bid process hierarchy considerations Department of Defense award goals coordinated activities bid types restricted bidding the general bid small business administrative the 8A program emerging small business and small business cooperative unrestricted bidding letter contract solicitation pre-definition responsibility solicitation invitation for bids request for proposal bid operating report protest construction contract award funding and authority to award preposition funding is advertised bid award with the contract award management award report. Chapter 6 Construction and Advertising Award. The chapter provides the overview of the requirements concerning associated with the award construction contract, the military construction program projects. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineering, Navy Facility Engineering Command, the Navy Factory design agent, the construction agent with the majority of the Air Force military construction project, the contracting officer with the appropriate design agent, the contracting construction agent organization to perform the contracting related responsibilities discussed in this chapter. The information is also useful to major of the command base serve the design agent, the contracting agent for the military construction other funded project. The Air Force project manager must work with the appropriate major common the base contracting officers and determine the specific contracting requirements for each of the project. The construction contract with the general supervision also specifies special conditions in the Division 1 specification which set forth the procedure responsible for the implementation of the contract, while contracting drawings and technical specifications identify the specific project requirements. The general provision of the project normally includes items such as the work description, governmental furnished equipment, submittal, construction sign requirements, utility outages, availability of utility service, general safety requirements, work hours, holidays, disposal procedures, final inspections. During the design, Air Force program management should review the general provision and ensure the contract meets the unique requirements of the project. The design adversely affect the project, ensure the critical path method, and make network will be provided with the network also provided with the manageable items. The other on a single item facility, the critical path method and network should be broken down with the subsystems, some smaller subsystems, multiple facility projects. The major common base concerns sometimes be based on unique situations that ensure the items such as the using clinical and environmental protection safety provisions included with the appropriate project highly visible areas and such as the front of the wing commander's office in which request the special attention during the construction activities defined as much cleaner usual construction practices project nearly family housing using the children-proof fencing and the barricades. Industrial high-tech projects often have special requirements. Operational maintenance have to be more than gathering of each of the manufacturer's specification pamphlets. The manual may reflect integrated systems approach. Likewise, testing operation acceptance may have the unique requirements that all have been specified in the contract. The project of construction signs one of the most visible features of the project site is confirmed by the Air Force requirement. The temporary government office are often included with the projects and field personnel during the construction. Ensure the adequate facility to provide with reasonable costs. Color boards are demonstrated with the contractor's understanding of the contract requirements. Be sure that the contractor is required to provide the timely submittals. Copies of the certain submittals are required with the Air Force. Review to be sure with the contracting agent construction agent would include required extra copy of the contract project with complicated phasing should be sectioned devoted with just phasing should be detailed with addressing areas maintaining operation utility service move type of the restriction if the contractor is to participate in any management meeting of the particular meeting should be clearly identified. Joint occupancy should be addressed as required. A special warranty requirements such as 6-hour response time for the refrigeration system malfunction should be specified if the contractor includes the usually long lead items included the required copy of the contractor's procurement schedule. Negotiated contract. The recent right of the Federal Acquisition Regulation, Part 315, Contractation and Negotiation, Air Force FARS supplement of the 15 significant impacts of the award with the federal construction contracts. Award with construction contracts based on the lowest pay of the responsible contractor is set and permissible and may be appropriate under the conditions of FAR 6401. However, the FARS 15 encourages negotiated acquisition based on the best value continuum, and an agency can obtain the best value negotiated acquisition using one or a combination source selection approach. The new approach provides the federal agency greater flexibility and the ability to consider the past performance as well as price. Liquid damages clause contained with the construction contract over the $500,000, except for the contractor cannot control the pace of the work. The liquid damages are optional contracts under the $500,000 per the FARS 211-504. The liquid damages are intended to establish advance fair compensation Air Force for each of the day of beneficial occupancy delayed with the contractor beyond the scope of the completion date. The actual damages do not have to be proven because the potential high assessment liquid damages court will only agree with the provision of the liquidated damages estimate with the responsible possible one base anticipated delays. Therefore, the commander of the user organization review the liquidated damages. Liquidated damages establish the contact project with the contractor facing the special operation need that can only be out of the service limited personnel that define the needs for the liquidated damages the project C. To determine the expected cost of the Air Force should be contracted to see the performance period. The contracting agent identify the separate cost impact within their operation. Ensure the liquid damages are not set forth at higher levels of the contract amount with the contractor put the excess contingencies in their bids. Review the bid the project the liquid damages because of the construction act courts as penalty, thus unenforceable. If the liquid damages are necessary, discuss the user estimated cost of the contractor delays in the facility delivery. The user must design completion to develop the baseline cost data using a construction agent substantiating the assessed liquid damages. 2. Authority. Congressional review. Every military construction, whether the activity were reserve force or medical facility, in line with the Department of Defense portion of the President budget must request the Senate through the Congress for process of the line of item in the process approval of the funding involved the review of the House Representative Armed and Service Committee, the House of the Representative, the Appropriation Committee, the Senate Arms Services Committee, and the Senate Appropriations Committee. The budget request in actual 2 request the authorization of HASAC and the House of Representatives Armed Service Committee and the Senate Armed Service Committee review approval of one appropriation, the HASAC and SAC approval. Senate, the House of Representative Appropriations Committee and the Senate Operations Review approval. If the military construction project clear with the congressional committees, it is authorized that the funding of the final bill, sometimes requested projects can clear all committees as the result of the difference between the House and the Senate operations. The authorization conflict of the committees is normally negotiated before and forwarding the respective whole body of the vote. If during these negotiation sessions of the project there is only one cleared committee, may yet be added with the available and used passage for the authorization appropriation bills signed by the signature military construction can be awarded. See Chapter 9 for the further information. Non-appropriated fund projects typically yearly bills authorize the military construction project for the period of 3 years, appropriated the fund for the 5 years, both being the start of the fiscal year of the signing of the bills, and later construction funds of the project are not obligated with the end of the 5-year period. The possible request and receiving the authorization extension of the congressional situation warrants extension. Authorized extensions are usually granted in 1-year increments. Unobligated project funds normally expire when the end of the 5 years and are held in the expired funds account with the SAF and FBI. Another 5 years expired funds are to be claimed with the financially closed project that makes this within scope of changes on the work of the original contract. The funds making the expended funds account for the withdrawing Department of the Treasury beginning with the 10th of the year, and cancel funds account available for the federal agency to pay the claims. B. Authority to advertise. The Headquarters U.S. Army Force Engineering Corps grants the authority to advertise military construction reviews, is issuing design instruction of the Major Com and the design instruction signals the Air Force program manager of the Major Com, the base civil engineer, use of the design agent as the project, including the authorization appropriation bill signed with the President. The Headquarters U.S. Army Force Engineering Corps to grant the authority to advertise the project of all the following criteria satisfied. Project including authorization appropriation bill signed with the President. Project of at least 95% design. Project and the PDA or ACES. Basically, the seed cost work estimate and the project and amount ratio not greater than 110% over the major fiscal year of the military construction cost work estimate, and the project amount ratio does not exceed 100%. The engineering and EIP completed with report of the PDS and ACES. A project with the construction work estimate and the paid amount of the ratio greater than 110% receive authority to advertise the major funding of the position does not support the higher cost. The likelihood exceeding the construction threshold amount during the bidding of the construction is too great. In these situations, the Air Force program manager will pursue the cost reduction measurement, such as project redesign, project scope reductions, authorize limited deletion of the project requirements, identifying the additive bid items. Headquarters U.S. Army Engineering will grant the advertiser, as a rule, will grant advance authorities to advertise priority authorization appropriation bills signed with the President and certain criteria satisfied. Projects have passed congressional review at least 3 to 4 committees without adversely language. A project at least 95% designed by the PDS and ACES basic cost work estimate and project amount ratios not greater than 95%. EIP completed reported in PDS ACES for ACES for non-appropriated funded projects. The headquarters of the AFSVA reviews the 90% of the design submittal certifies the available funds, authorize the base core engineering complete with the design package. The headquarters of the U.S. Army U.S. Army Air Force Engineering grants authority to advertise the design instruction of Major Com. Alright, 3. Construction bid process. The hierarchy consideration. Prior to the public notification of the construction project, the contracting officer will make a determination to leave level bidding of the restrictions to be placed on the construction project. The determination is made by the 3 basic questions that the project candidate, small business administrative, 8A setting a solicitation of the small business requires that the project of one of the 8A contractor does the meter project meet the criteria of the emerging small business setting aside. The small business set aside have been reinstated. If the contracting officer does not meet the project with the small business set aside, if none of the above, then the project will be advertised on a restricted solicitation. B. The Department of Defense award goals. Although Title 10 U.S. Standard Code 2323 establishes the objective of the warning of the 5% of all the Department of Defense to the acquisition dollars, small division disadvantaged business concerned the Department of Defense far as supplemented with the 219 and 219-201. The Department of Defense small business annually negotiated agree upon the higher goal, and the contracting officer will have this information. Therefore, seeks equitably support the joint Department of Defense small business goals and offering the operational maintenance of the minor construction, military construction projects. The goals achieved with the combination awards to the 8A contractors through small disadvantaged business set-asides. Coordination activities. The DoD committee with the support of the DA business development of the small disadvantaged business program. However, the mission support, complexity, funding, and other needs may be conflict with timeliness of the cost, contractor ability associated with the contracting restriction. Public such as the equipment delivery date may be based for the justifying note at the 8A solicitation coordinating bidding the restriction of the user base core engineering major comment the contracting officers earlier in the design process. Again, before the entering the contracting process, is only those coordination efforts that need the various organization may identify the appropriate justification supplied with the contracting officer before the application bidding restriction adversely impact the mission available funding. D. Bid types. Restricted bidding. General. Restricted bidding refers to the restriction placed on a little list of possible bidders. These restrictions are full and open compatibility have mandated with the Congress through the enactment of several business development laws. The contracting officer, government officials, the ultimate determine the level of restriction be levied on any of this project. The source of the information following the discussion of the FR's Part 19, the DoD FAR's Part 19, Air Army's FAR's Supplement Part 19, the Engineers FAR's Part 19, Air Force New and Supplement Part 19, very slightly in Army's Engineering Supplement. However, the variances are significant. Small Business Administration 8A program. The restricted solicitation contracting officer seeks the contract of the Small Business Administration subcontract to small disadvantaged contracting and enrolled with the Business Development Program. Project can either be offered by the small business, and small business can request the small specific projects appeared with a good match for one of their enrolled projects in accordance with the FAR's 19805 completion between the two or more 8A contractors is not possible. The construction project when the anticipated award of the price of the contract includes but will exceed $5 million. The contracting officer is obligated to proceed the negotiation with the Small Business Administration, and if the contractor is either in the case using, unless the contracting officer can be shown that the 8A solicitation is not best interest of the government and exceeds the fair market price. Emerging small businesses. Small business competitiveness demonstrated program that established by the Title 7 of the Business Opportunity Development and Reform Act of 1988, PERFAR's 19-1001 and 19-1005 programs consist of two major components. Unrestricted completion of the four design industrial groups of construction under the standard industrial classification code. The compromise major groups of 15, 16, 17, excluding dredging and refusing the system of the related services, including the portable sanitary services and standard industrial site industrial codes, CI 4212 and 4095-3. Architectural engineering services include the servicing mapping under the SI code 7389, 8711, 8712, 8713, which are awarded with the qualifications based on the procedures required in Title 40 U.S. Standard Code 541. Intent sequence, not nuclear ship repair and small business participation. 10 federal agencies targeted with the industry. The Department of Defense accepts national injury map agencies on one of the participation demonstration programs. The Emerging Small Business ESB, the set-aside method of contract waiting in effect of January 1989. Under the contracting method, the work solicited among the field of the contractors who met the FAR's definition of emerging small business as far as 19-1002. Contracting method normally restricted than $25,000 or less, typically with small purchase action known as the request quotation. See FAR's 19-1006 to FAR's 219-1005 for information. Small business competitive. Small business set aside method of contracting and change with 1989 under this program for the designated industry, construction, architectural engineering, service to refuse the system. Non-nuclear ship repairs will be not based aside, but rather under the unrestricted solicitation contract with contracting officers and additional information. The small business set-aside program field builders restricted, including and only contractors who meet the FAR's definition of small business as far as 1901. Similar manner to small disadvantaged business set-aside contracting officer will require to set aside the construction for a small business if the Department of Defense award goal previously described as not being met. The contracting officer believes the least two are responsible, but the small business will be bid, and an award will be a reasonable price as far as 15402. Unrestricted bidding. At times, as the title implies, the contracting method, no restriction possible. Recipients of the contract award letter contracts, although seldom may use a letter contract method of contracting design construction when the work must be immediately minimize the impact of the mission under defined a contractual instrument starts construction before negotiating the terms of price. Contract of the type is not open to identify the quantity rather than specific design. Construction needs to be specified and complete with a feasible under the given circumstances. The contracting officer may complete the finalization within 180 days after the date of the letter of the contract before the completion of 40% of the work which occurs incurred in accordance with the FAR 16603. The contracting officer must execute the termination finding and show that no other contracting method is suitable before the method may be used. The letter contractor must commit with the government to the definite contract in excess of not to exceed the price, cannot amend to satisfy the new requirement unless the new requirement is inservible for existing requirements, for not must circumvent the completion of the stipulation required by the other specification for the further information contract type of the 16603. 4. Solicitation phase. The contracting solicitation. The contracting begins with the solicitation invitation, but the request for proposal notifying the respective prospective officers and notify the comprehensive commerce business daily unless expected by the FARS 5202. FARS 203 requires the notice to be published with at least 15 days in advance of issue of the invitation for bid and request for proposal to ensure the qualified officers respond to the notice and help prevent dispute and potential problems. The contracting officers should prepare the detailed description of the business day synopsis. The key good synopsis describes the scope and the attracts the firm's desired construction management skills. During the solicitation, the contracting officer complies with the solicitation packet, include the project drawing specifications, special clauses, the current Davis-Bacon wage rates, the particular solicitation procedure for the bid and opening proposal, the closing date, the bid proposal exception period. Although the typical bid and proposal exception the period of the 60-day bid opening closing date with the time shortened with the heightened pursuit of the design agent and the Air Force program manager with the major com based on the user and the customary bid acceptance period with the range of 30 days to 90 days. Contractor doesn't guarantee returning to the whole day over 90 days because of the tied up capacity and cost location. Therefore, the higher bid prices can be expected with the exception periods of beyond 90 days. Pre-definition responsibility solicitation. Although the different acquisition procedure federal acquisition agencies require the award of the contracting, the representative of the responsibility contractor to deliver the project at the time of the critical mission of the touch of the complicated nature of the contractor must possess unusual skill. The Air Force program management should include the specific responsibility criteria in the solicitation to avoid the problems as required in the FARS 90104. Generally, a determination responsibility includes the assessment of the contractor, technical, financial management, performance, and capabilities, and sufficient information available. Determination responsibility, Air Force program managers request contracting officer to conduct the pre-awarded survey of the accordance with the FARS 9106. The federal test responsibility is the prospective contractor must generally stand for the FARS 91041. Invitation to the bidding request for proposals. Under the completion of a minimum of 15 days synopsis, the solicitation being issued with the contractor normally issued with the solicitation notice of all the contract will list with the contractor officers and mailing list may also be many of the clearinghouses as possible so at the wide side of the possible completion of the construction work under the exceptional condition 30-day responsibility team substantial shortening the list for the prospect of aero offers narrow to the mission requirement. The Air Force program management has provided necessary justification contracting officer order to approve these or other full open competition contracts as far as 60304. For extreme, complex, difficult projects, the time set with the receipt of the bid of the proposal to get lengthened to improve the completion of the project. The invitation for bid is customary for the bidding opening of the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and enhances the competitiveness bidding process and expiration period. Bidding period. Bids are open and read aloud to all the present, and all end of the reading of the bids and apparent low bidder is declared. The pin of the process contracting award at the building opponent. Opening conduct of the request for proposal offer expected to receive the award is not until the completion of the evaluation process selection of the best value for offer. When required, the solicitation can amend without the provision requested during the solicitation requires the response period to contribute to delay, confusion requirements, ultimately more expensive, reduce the quality projects. The solicitation package requirement requires change. The solicitation response period may be have adjusted so that it allows 10 days between the issuance and amendment to the time set with the receipt of the bid of the proposal. Issuance amendment with the delay of the due date and the bid of the proposal. The contracting officer may request the Air Force program manager's concurrence prior to the issuance, having the contracting officer provide with the Air Force program and the reason with the consequence for either issuing or not issuing the amendment, depending on the revision involved with the time that they may advise the incorporate change of the known modification rather than delay the due date. In the case of the works closely, the major comment with the contracting officer to avoid any change to solicitation, especially those unnecessarily delaying the bid opening. Bid opening report. The contracting officer usually handle the bidding and the contracting award activities should be provided with the bidding opening report within 24 hours. Fully following the bid opening, the invitation for bids. The report includes the name, the bid amount, the first, second, and lower bid, including the additive items, the high bid of the additive of the government estimate, and analysis of the cost work estimate noted with the finding of the status of the recommendation concerned with low bid and any additives upon receipt of the bid of any open and report notification to U.S. Air Force Engineering Corps and entering the information of the PDC and ACES. Alright, E. Beware the interested party who direct the economic interest that can be affected with the award of the failure award of the particular contract with the right to protest the award. The party can protest the contracting officer agency due to the contracting general accounting officer. The protest is generally filed with the contracting officer before the general accounting office. Protest can be filed before an award after it is filed before an award cannot be made, but the made resolved with the contracting officer's decision, except with under specific conditions. The contracting officer does not have to suspend a contract with protest received after the award. If the protest is filed by the general accounting office, the general accounting office must notify the contracting officer with 1 day after the protest is filed with the contracting officer must submit the report to the general accounting office within 5 working days. The general accounting office can take up the work on 90 days after the receipt of the protest before issuing the recommendation. The contracting officer elects now the government general accounting office. The recommendation contracting officer rationale must be provided with the comptroller general 60 days. 5. Construction contract award. Finding of the authority of the award of the award construction work. The cost work estimate is based on the apparent low bid, which includes the basic bid plus any of the additive bids awarded with the management contingency reserve, design agent, supervision, administrative fee. The bid documentation clearly identified in order and acceptance of the additive bids item and any percentage juggling additive bid items for favor of the particular contract. Construction funds. The military construction project will transfer to the construction agent after the bid opened. The major com notifies the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force and Engineering Corps of the proposed the cost work estimate and award with the cost work estimate does not exceed the programmed amount. The headquarters of the U.S. Army Air Force Engineering Corps issued the design instruction to the major com granting authority to award the contract, requesting the SAF and the FBMBIC sending formal equal awards of the cost working estimate to the construction agent. An award with the cost working estimate, the greater with the program amount, but with the authorization threshold, the major comment to identify the funding sources, the difference between the award with the cost working estimate and the program amount. The award with the cost working estimate is exceeded the program amount by 25% of the $2 million, whichever is greater. The major com cannot award the contract to, and the project must be redesigned with a rebid or reprogrammed. All right. Pre-position funds. Year at the end of the fiscal year, the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force Engineering Corps normally request the SAF and the MFBIC transfer construction funds, but the design agent and the contracting agent of the military construction project schedule by the award at the end of the fiscal year known as the pre-position with the construction fund. The amount of the funds pre-position generally is equal to the program amount may vary depending on the individual project consideration. Although the bids may open at any time after the project included, the authorized appropriated bids signed by the president, the contracting officer cannot award the contractor until the funds are actually received. Adverse bids loosely defined. Adverse bids occur with the contracting cannot be awarded the low bid because the resulting award of the cost work estimate exceeds the congressional reprogramming threshold. The cost working estimate expected to exceed the threshold amount during the construction. Adverse bid can be called the number of the problems individual collective of these include the design falls only the restrictive contract requirements and inadequate bidding completion error the government estimating the significant increase of the cost in construction material destination of to be awarded marginally adversely bid depending on the mission need of the contractor reputation complexity and unknown within the project. Potential remedies overcoming the diverse business, including the rebidding existing contract acquisition, most favorable bid climate, revising the project bid with the content with the deletion project scope with the requirements for reducing project bid content with the identification of additive bid items, the base awarding of the negotiated acquisition rather than sealed bids. CFRs 15.102, the reprogramming of the project of the Congress. Air Force program manager must aggressively seek all the solution based on the various factors impacting the project design, such as the critical needs of the available funding, the bidding of the climate, the need for the user base, the major the bid proposal expires, the ending of the acceptance of the period of the initial invitation for bid and request for proposal. In addition, the seeking the appropriate solution to advertise the bid, Air Force program manager must also track the progress towards the reaching of the decision in order to determine the bid extension appropriate. D. The award and contract award report. The contract award makes the point with the project requirement the idea discussed during the planning of the decision process beginning to become the reality throughout the construction of the design and construction agent responsible for the same organization project management. The responsibility transferred after the award. However, the responsibility for this different organization transfer prior to the solicitation. Last action design agent before the transfer responsibility after the contract award is submitted with the contract awards report. The construction agent with the Air Force program management. The Air Force program manager, the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force Engineering Corps entered the award into the data into the bidding opening report. The PDS and ACES report that must be entered within 24 hours of the contract award, including the complete finding of the summary, the award date, and the number of the cost additives items, award of the award scope of the additive item, the bidding of the restriction. See Chapter 9 for the further information on non-appropriated for funding projects. Chapter 7 Facility Construction.